So I decided to give RIT Dye on a Magpul PRS stock. I've gotten pieces. I just disassembled it into as many as I could. Took out all the metal components, except didn't want to take the pin out to pull the screw out. Just got done doing a trial piece. See if I can get better lighting. It's still drying a little bit, but so far it turned out really nice. I've had 12 quarts of water. It's almost plumb full, and a full bottle of RIT Dye, and got it to just a nice simmer. It's almost boiling, and I left this piece in for about 10 minutes, so turned out pretty nice. So I got the rest of my parts in here now. I'm not really sure how much I was supposed to use. It's actually graphite, it's not black, but I know the black has had problems turning purple. And some people have had luck with adding a little bit of green. It takes out that purple tint to it, kind of like a Sharpie, that little purple to it, it's the same thing. I didn't want to risk it with having purple tint. This is all my local Walmart had anyways, and I wasn't too picky if it didn't come out perfectly black. So I got that Magpul PRS stock really cheap, brand new in the box with the aftermarket cushion butt plate for $140 shipped, so I couldn't really beat it. I got the water to a boil, or almost a boil, between 180 and 200 degrees. Right before I put stuff in, I didn't put stuff in and then bring it to a boil. I got the water boiling and then added the products. That way it reduces the amount of time that they're in the solution. Other than that, it's pretty simple. After they're done cooking, I turn them in here a few times, make sure nothing sits on the bottom too long. Stuff gets moved around. You can kind of see a couple pieces floating around here. They've been in for about 3 minutes and they're already starting to turn black. Kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but I constantly turn them a little bit, make sure they stay fully submerged and don't sit on the bottom so they don't burn or melt. But after I do that, I take the parts that have been done, rinse them off in cool water for a little bit, and then I put them on this drying tray. You want to use all stainless steel if you can, to prevent any staining, like I've stained a little bit on the stovetop. If that happens, you can try acetone or a bunch of other stuff to get it off. So I just hit my 10-minute mark, pulling them out, and just gonna rinse it under some cool water. Normally, no dye really comes off under cool water. I think it's just to bring the temperature back down. Couldn't really tell you all the reasoning behind it. Just know you're supposed to do it. Sorry, I'm trying to one-hand everything. The camera's a little off. Alright. Lay that on my drying rack. And try to fish out the rest of my parts. I suggest better tongs than plastic tongs that flex, because these suck. I learned on the first small piece that you can't really get them out with the tongs when it's in the black. You can't see anything. So on the smaller piece, I laid it in here and then submerged it in the little spoon. That seemed to work pretty well. I have a few more pieces in here I gotta fish out, and I'll get back to you when it's all done. Well, after I dropped a piece in the bucket and splashed dye all over my white appliances, which was fun. These are done. Ended up being just under a boil temperature. I'm guessing around 180, maybe a little more. I didn't have a thermometer. And total soak time, except for this piece, was about 11.5 minutes. And like I said, I put them in. I brought it to a boil first, or just under a boil, and then added these in. They turned out awesome. Actually, it's the perfect black. It's about as standard black polymer as it's gonna get. I didn't get any purple tint like a lot of people get. I'm not sure what that is, if I just got the mixture right, or still a little wet there with water. I'm not sure if I just got the mixture right, or lucky, or maybe there's been improvements to the product from in the past. I will say though, although it doesn't scratch through the color, it appears so in here. The tongs, when I tried to grab it, did make marks. They're not as noticeable as you gotta hit them in the light like I'm getting right now. But when it's down and out of the light, you don't really see them. It's got a few in there, but I will say that those do show these little scratches. But it doesn't scratch through the coloring. It actually it penetrates in halfway decent, it seems. I know some people have cut into these to see how far they actually leak in. It's not super far, but a gouge will bring out the original color. But light scratches like that, it looks way worse in this light that I have it in right now. But if you're really picky and you want a pristine gun, you're probably not dyeing your stuff anyways. You're probably just buying it black to begin with. For the last time, it turned out really nice. Got it all put back together. Some of these parts, I don't know if it was the heat. I didn't see any distortion, or I don't see any flexing of the original components. This was a little tighter to get on than it was to get off, along with this part down here, but they both went on fine, no problem. And I was curious to see if they would scratch, because it did take a little bit of effort to open this back up. It was a little narrow, and after sliding the components on and off, especially this, about 4 or 5 times just to see if it would scratch, it never scratched, never went through the dye. So I'd say, if you've got yourself picked up a cheap one like I did for a lot less than what you buy new, and dye it, $5 for the dye is what I paid. So I'm in this like 145, maybe 150, I can't remember. Either 145 or $150 for brand new with a aftermarket butt pad. So not too bad. And just to recap one last time, I used a 12 quart, put that down there. I used a 12 quart pan. It did, and there's a little water in there, but it did, if you're using one to cook with at home, it did stain this one a little bit. This is a cheap $8 one I picked up. It rinsed off of almost everything else that I used, but it did stain this a little bit. I'm not sure how much effort it would take to get it out, or if there's acetone or what might do it, but I'm sure something will take care of it. So 12 quarts, almost 12 quarts, I filled it up about 1.5 inches below the top, and then I used a full bottle of this exact dye, which is graphite. They make a specific black in the powder, and that's the one I heard turns purple, so I figured it can't be any worse than giving this one a whirl. And this one doesn't have any hint of purple at all in it, which I was very pleased about. So 12 quarts, a full jug of this, bring it to a boil before you put your parts in, and I let it sit in for about 11.5 minutes. But you can periodically take them out and check them to see how dark you want it. I'm not sure what would happen if I left it in longer, if it would have gotten darker, or I didn't want to risk starting to melt any pieces or anything like that. I know you can mix and match colors, make all sorts of stuff, purples, yellows, greens. anything from dull colors to bright, ungodly colors. I think there's 12 or so primary colors to choose from that RIT makes, and you can mix those together to create all sorts of stuff. So hopefully I gave you a little bit of insight, helped you out a little bit. This is my first time, so I say go for it.